Well, I finally made it here properly to Japan. I'm in a tiny apartment in Nippon. That's where I'm staying. Back at the usual place that me and Mark have stayed in since 2010. Sud as well, so why shouldn't it carry on? So for the first part of the day, I showed you a few vlogs earlier on. That was in Manchester. I was really surprised when I got to Paris, actually, because the airport in Paris was really swanky and really flash. Had loads of these like really leather benches with designed people to lie on and everything else. It was really nice, and a lot of their seats had wall sockets. So if you got the time and you got a decent layover there, you can really get some charge done on your tablets, your phones, and God knows what else. But then onto the flight itself from Paris to Tokyo, and it was a bit of heads and tails really in terms of what was good and what was bad. I'll start with the good first of all. They had a fantastic selection of stuff on the in-flight. It was one of the best, most diverse I've seen for a long time. There's about 40 films, whereas most are 10, and 5 of which are the same category. This had absolutely everything. Tons of different TV shows, and had classic games as well, like a modern version of Breakout and things like that, a modern version of Tetris, which was nice to break up the action a little bit. But the best thing about their in-flight entertainment system is actually not the entertainment itself. Next to their TV screens, they have a USB socket. So if you've got a smartphone or a tablet, you can charge it for fuck all during the flight in economy class. Most offer you a wall socket in the floor if you go to premium economy for an extra 400 quid. Fly over Air France, or at least on the plane I had, and you don't. I approve a lot. One thing I will say about the flight though, the crew were a bit annoying. Quite a few of them were very rude. They were French, and I don't like to say all French people are rude because I know they're not. But for some reason, Paris seems to bring out the worst in the French people I've spoken to, who I'm not really close with. But they seem a bit of a klutz at the way they organise things. At one point they were doing a food run, and they managed to end 2 rows before mine. And we were kept waiting half an hour for them to come back round. By which point the guy next to me complained it was too cold and he couldn't eat it. So there was lots of negative feedback for that. It was a real shame, because I thought the experience was great other than that. Massive flaw. When I got to Japan, I made a faux pas which could have got me in a lot of trouble. When you come to Japan, you're from obviously you're anywhere with Japanese. If you don't have any kind of like national or re-entry cards, you have to get a landing card every time and get a fresh visa put in your passport and so forth. Well, they give you a slip to fill out. Anyone who's been anywhere outside their own country is familiar with this at some point. And it asked me like where I embarked on the journey from. Now, being an idiot, but Paris, because that's when I was going to Japan. So when I present this like customs slip, because like when I got to the border, it was fine. They're like, yeah, have your visa, go through, enjoy your stay in Japan. I get to the customs guy, and he's like, do you live in France? And I'm like, oh fuck, no, not now, kind of thing. I was like, the last thing I want to be doing is getting in an argument at this point. Just let me get in and get to my apartment. Fortunately, the guy understood that I was a bit stupid. I explained I'd been up for nearly 3 days, pretty much, in terms of length of time, and he's like, oh, right. Well, did you just be careful this time, enjoy your stay. So yeah, there might be a mark against my record, so I better be a good boy in the future. Anyone else is coming over, don't matter if you get a connecting flight, put your first flight first. Maybe I was too stupid, maybe I was too tired, I don't know, leave your comments and I'll respond to them in due course. Anyway, finally got into Japan, and I was a bit surprised when I got to my apartment because the person who was doing it wasn't there. Now, I got given a phone number to ring them, which is fair enough because, you know, as anyone will tell you, you can say you're going to land at 11 o'clock and then you're delayed, or of course you get to the boarding card situation, and guess what? There's 80 people waiting, so you got to wait for ages. So I didn't mind calling them, as expensive as it was. But he kept cutting off with the 3 rings. And one day, one part of it, I just thought, I'd had enough. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to get this resolved. And I played the angry British person who waits on the line until someone answers. It worked. They came over, sorted out the contract, and that is that. So I've been busy since then. I decided that I'd go and treat myself. So one of the first things I got was this. That's the winter tour for Morning Musume. The only thing I don't like is this. See if I can get it on the camera for you. Yeah, you see it? 1-4. No, not 1-4. It's the group Amomosu. Simple as that. Stupid, stupid name change. No reason for it whatsoever. And I'm hoping that fad will die. But the rest of the shirt design I like. I think it's cool to have a red shirt. The only one I've got is hiking, so it was nice to get that kind of thing. I also treat myself to a bunch of very large sorry. But see, I told you I'm taking notes. I've been up for too long. No, I got myself some nice 2Ls of the glorious Huka-chan. There she is. Isn't she pretty? There are more. Maybe I'll show them another time. Or maybe I'll just stroke them. Because they're all mine. Oh yes. Oh yes they are. Actually no, that was really creepy. I'm never doing that again. That was really, really creepy. What was I doing? Speaking of what was I doing now? Walking for Akihabara. I've been up for at least 34 hours. And a guy with a HD camera points at me. With a proper boom mic. I wanted to do an interview about Japanese music. Oh God. It turns out this dude was from TV Asahi. I signed a form which had the words music station on it. For those of you who know anything about Japanese music shows, that's one of their most influential. So there's a high degree of possibility, or at least I hope not, that you might see me making a tit of myself talking about all different kinds of weird Japanese music, going into a terrible Japanese accent, and talking a lot of nonsense. Don't say it. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking of very simple words there. You're thinking of 4 simple words. Don't. You have been warned. Yeah, I'll teach you. But yeah, so currently 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. I'm inane warbling as usual. I've got doing this using my tablet as I mentioned before because I realised I actually hated these things. I thought they were pointless. Having got a smartphone, I thought, what's the point? But having got one of those nice little Bluetooth keyboards for it, I've travelled here this year. I've not got a video camera with me. I've not got a stills camera with me. I've not got a laptop with me. So I'm not laden down with half as much junk, which is adding weight to my journey and basically causing massive cables in the apartment. So I'm actually quite happy I've got it. There are a few drawbacks. It hasn't got a slot for an external hard drive, which is frustrating. But on the whole, quite a good experience to use it. So the quality might not be perfect, but that's all you're going to get, because I'm not going out and buying a camcorder for you. I like you, but not that much. So, rest of the day, at the moment I'm just going to chill because there's not much else planned at this moment in time. But I am hoping that tomorrow I will get to pick up my tickets for the Kika possible Hubble Girls gig. I've been talking to the contacts who arranged them for me and I'm just waiting for a final answer from them. Other than that, I'm hoping I'll hit Akira Backstage Pass at some point again. Not been there for some time. And I'm just going to try and catch up with all my friends, all of you who are out here. And those of you who aren't here, well, I'll keep on talking to you this way in the meantime. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next intro.